Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill on a very windy day. Oh, I can't believe I'm even out here, and I'm hoping you'll be able to hear me all right today. So I'm out in the vegetable garden because today is the day that I finally get to plant the gutter peas. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out my 10th video of this growing season, 2021, and then you'll understand what it's all about. Now, before I get started, I have to tell you that I've been taken to task by some followers saying you need to tell us what your hardiness zone is. And I apologize, I tend to forget that. But I'm in Spokane, Washington. My garden is in hardiness zone 5B. Now, most of Spokane is in zone 6, but we're in an outlying area at a higher elevation. Our garden's in a frost pocket, and so yeah, we're 5B. The peas took about 8 days to germinate. We had them in the house for a while, and I started the hardening off process very quickly, and that's where you slowly but surely acclimate the plants to the outdoor temperatures and the intensity of the sunlight. So the way it goes is this. The first day you put them out for an hour, you move them back indoors. Second day 2 hours, move them back indoors. Third day 3 hours, and so on for about a week's time. And so I've gotten the hardening off process done, but it has just been too darned cold here. A few nights ago it got down to 24. I mean, come on. And so, you know, I've just been biding my time. The other thing is I started them a little earlier than we normally do because I felt like I planted them too late last year. Well, I think I went to the other end of the spectrum this year because I started them on March 7th. I think they should be started at least a week later, maybe 2 weeks even, but we have really nice plants. The goal is to get a lot of nice greenery, but especially a mat of roots to help them slide out of the gutters and into the trench in our raised bed. Now, our raised beds are 8 feet long, and these are just under 4 feet each. And so I've got 4 of them to do 2 rows in my bed. This is going to be the pea bed, and the first thing I need to do is to make 2 trenches on either side of the length of the bed. And I like to use a hoe for that because it's actually about the same proportion as the height and width of the rain gutter. So that should work out really well. Now I want to just try out the depth of the trench by putting a gutter in there. And it looks like, based on where the soil level is within the gutter, it is deep enough in the trench to accommodate them. So now I'm going to take off the end caps of the gutters in preparation for planting. Even though the potting soil inside the gutters is already quite damp, I'm going to water them again because that is one of the keys to getting the plants to slide out of the gutters and into the trench. That was something I learned a couple years ago, and it really made a difference. Okay, I'm just holding them at quite an angle and shaking them, waiting for them to get started. Here we go, I can feel it. Come on, you guys. There we go. It's like you really have to shake them at the beginning and then they go in. Now, is that quick planting or what? I just have to adjust this one because I stretched it out a little too far. And then the next step is just to push the soil into the trench alongside the plants and their roots, because you don't want the roots exposed to the air. And then just firm it in around the plants. If this wind would stop blowing, I would really be enjoying my day. And I'm going to water them in one more time to really make sure that the soil makes good contact with the roots. You know, wind can really be a drying factor, so it is very important not to let the plants dry out. The next step is to support the pea plants. And you know, I don't care what a seed packet says. Some of them say they do not require any kind of staking. Well, I disagree. And it's better to be safe than sorry, right? So I always support my peas. Now what I'm going to do, and this is something I've done in the past 3 years, is I'm going to make a little support lattice from a bunch of prunings from our fruit trees. It's free materials, why not? Now something else I should mention is if you're going to put up a wire grid for the peas to climb, or a netting of some sort with stakes, I'd recommend putting those in place before you plant the peas. I think that's the safest thing to do. But I'm going to do a lattice framework, and I'm going to put them on the outside of either row, and it should work great and it'll look really cool. And again, it's free. One of the things I like about doing the structure on the outside of each row is that it will keep the quail away from the plants as well. You might recall from my previous video, again number 10, that's one of the reasons I do this method and start the seeds indoors, is because I'm trying to get them to a size where they can fend for themselves. So this is another way to keep the quail away from the young plants. To make a lattice, what you do is you put stakes in on an angle like this and push them down pretty low. And I'm going to do them all facing the same direction. And then come back and do the other direction. So just to show you what I'm talking about, there will be ones that go this way. So I'm putting them maybe about 10 inches or so apart, the ones that are going all in this direction. And just like when I did this for the very first time a few years ago, I'm winging it. You have to kind of put in a few, look at it, make sure that you've got it right. Now these are green arrow peas, and my packet said that they'll grow 24 inches tall. Well, guess what? I've had them grow taller than I am, and I'm 5'7", so that's why giving them support is so important. The other thing I can do as this comes together is I can use a pruner's to make everything uniform in height, but I don't want to do that until I have the structure all figured out. So I've had some stops and starts with this project because I realized I really needed to move in the stakes closer to this row of peas. So just on the outside of the drip line. And then Bill came and helped for a bit because he can do this weaving really quickly. I stumble over it and try to figure out which one goes in, which one goes out. So now that it's all in place, what I'm going to do is shorten the sticks to maybe about here. And we're also going to weave in some branches horizontally just to make sure the tops of these branches don't pull apart during the season. Okay, the trellis is more or less finished. I think I'm going to put something down on each end, and then that's it. But now you know everything you should know about growing gutter peas. It is the coolest thing. I realize it's not for everybody, but if you have to start your seeds indoors ahead of time because of birds in the garden or weather conditions, this is a slick way to do it because you can plant so many seedlings at once. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. I'm going to get inside out of this wind. Happy gardening. And before I go, this is just a friendly reminder that I have a brand new book coming out, the Vegetable Garden Pest Handbook. I wrote it for all levels of gardeners, from beginners to master gardeners. This will help you identify both the good bugs and the bad bugs in your garden and provide you with all sorts of methods for dealing with the bad ones using effective organic controls. This is going to be such a great resource for all gardeners. If you pre-order it now, you will receive special bonus content that is not in the book and can't be found elsewhere. It contains my best tips for growing your favorite veggies and some you might not have thought of. All you have to do is order it from your bookstore or preferred online source and email me your order confirmation. My email address is susan@susansinthegarden.com. Then I'll send you a link to the bonus content. This is a great deal, and thank you.